My stepdaughter spent months insulting me in sign language thinking I couldn't understand. So for my husband's 50th birthday party, I signed my entire toast. I was an ASL interpreter for 7 years before I decided to switch careers and get into marketing. My younger brother was deaf, so in a lot of ways, sign language was my first language. I grew up learning to sign for my brother. It wasn't a party trick or something I picked up from YouTube. When I started dating Josh, he told me about his daughters on the second date. They were twin 16-year-olds, raised by their deaf mother who ended up dying of cancer a few years ago. Sign language was their secret world. I didn't tell Josh I knew sign language because I didn't want to insert myself in the twins' secret language. I felt like it was something sacred that I didn't need to be a part of, something that was just theirs and their mother's, and I was fine with it. Things started off small. I entered the kitchen one night to make smoothies for everyone and caught the twins signing to each other a little discreetly. Jade smirked when I asked if they wanted a smoothie, and then she signed to Jules. She's trying way too hard. Jules agreed, and then said out loud to me, "Sure, we'd love smoothies." I just smiled in response and got to work making them. Then Thanksgiving rolled around. I spent 2 days preparing a large meal for my family. I found Josh's mother's recipe books in the attic and used those to make mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, turkey, sweet potatoes, and pumpkin cake for dessert. Josh was ecstatic, but the girls were signing to each other across the table. "Now she's trying to act like Mom," Jade said with her lips screwed up in disgust. "Mom would hate this," Jules agreed. I just smiled and served the meal, pretending like their words didn't bother me, like I didn't understand what they were saying. The breaking point came when I had to take Jade to urgent care because she was running a high fever and Josh couldn't get out of work. I sat with her in the hospital room, filled out her paperwork, held her insurance card, and even held her hand when she was acting clingy and scared because she wasn't feeling well. I thought maybe she was finally coming around because she wanted me around her. But then on the ride home, she FaceTimed Jules and I spotted her hands moving out of the corner of my eye. "She's acting like Mom," she complained to Jules. "It makes me sick. I almost threw up in the hospital room because she kept holding my hand." Jules responded by saying, "She won't be around much longer. She's just after Dad's money, and to him, she's just a pretty woman he gets to sleep with." My hands tightened on the steering wheel until the whites of my knuckles started showing. I was heartbroken and pissed at the same time. My face flushed with anger, but when Jade glanced at me, I smiled at her, and she shot me a relaxed grin in return. That was 3 weeks before Josh's 50th birthday party that I had planned weeks in advance. When the birthday party came around, I knew what I had to do. I had planned an amazing toast for my husband, but at that moment, I knew I wasn't going to be reading it. The party was off to an amazing start. I greeted guests, thanking them for coming. The twins were in high spirits, and Josh was cheerful. I hated to ruin the mood, but when it came time to give my toast, I slowly stood and turned my gaze to the twins. I announced to everyone, "I've decided to say my toast in sign language because I've known sign language my whole life, and Josh has been learning sign language to honor his late wife's memory." The twins were pale, but Josh looked touched, so I began to sign. "I know I'm not your mother," I said to the twins. "I've been trying so hard to honor her and keep her memory alive while earning your respect, but that's proving impossible." Jade was deathly pale, and Jules shifted uncomfortable in her seat. Josh looked confused. I continued, "I know you think I'm just a gold digger woman who your dad is just sleeping with. I've heard every unkind word you've said to me and about me in the past, but I'm done trying." Josh was starting to get angry, and the girls were frozen in their seats. I smiled a huge smile and turned to my husband. "Happy birthday," I said out loud. The crowd clapped even though they were confused. The girls were the only ones not clapping. The drive home was uncomfortable. Josh drove with his hands clutching the steering wheel tightly. No one spoke. When we got home, the twins locked themselves in their bedroom, and I followed Josh into our room. As soon as our door was closed, he turned on me. "That was unnecessary," he hissed at me. "You didn't have to embarrass them like that." I stared at him in surprise. "What about how they've treated me?" I demanded. Josh shrugged. "They're just kids," he snapped, and that was when I knew. Of course he would take their side, but I was done being the odd one out. A week later, I filed for divorce.